Hey everybody, we're here today to make a dungeon. Gentle's Dungeon Guide 3 just came out. Okay, so let's make a dungeon. We'll follow the book's process end to end. You can see all the steps here. I won't go through it now. We're just gonna do it. Much smarter people came up with a lot of the ideas in this book, so I'll credit it here. And thank you for everybody who playtested and believed. Okay, cool. So first, dungeon history. You have to write a mythology for the dungeon by answering two key questions. Who built the dungeon and why? So in terms of who built it, we're just going to roll. You know, we're not going to wait for inspiration. We're going to let inspiration come to us. So I just rolled, I got a 66. So let's look at the builder's table, and humans built it. Okay. Hello? Humans built the dungeon. We want to know a little bit about the humans, so let's roll on the impulse table on the next page. We got a 23. Oh, it's a 3 dice table, so 234. Ideological. So ideological humans built the dungeon. So that means these humans believed in something, a god, an ideal, you know, a system of living, something like that. Okay. How did they build the dungeon? We have to roll twice on the dungeon table to figure out why they built this dungeon. So that's on page 5 here, or page 6. I just revised the book. 542. I think this is a D300 table, so it's okay. We'll just convert this into a D3. So, I mean, there's different ways you can do it, but I just like to think of this as the 242. Okay, so we got the chronic 221. Chronic tower. Fascinating. What do we mean by chronic? Persisting for in terms of an illness, persisting for a long time or constantly recurring. Okay, so maybe the people who lived here are sick, have some kind of disease. Okay, put it together. So let's imagine the builders. They are ideological humans. They believe in something and they're ill. So let's imagine that these, I mean, there's a lot of different ways you could take this. Here's where my mind goes. They are a bunch of people infected with a plague, and they believe that alchemy can cure them. They have ideological opposition to religion. This is pretty atypical for, you know, a bunch of medieval screwheads, but whatever. You could easily take this the other way, where, you know, the thing they believe in is like a god or a religion or something. Okay, so we have a chronic tower. We have to list rooms. So we want to make a list of rooms that the builders would have created in their dungeon. So think about the kinds of rooms that could exist. You know, like what rooms do people need for their daily life? How do they defend themselves? How do they make things? Rooms might exist here naturally. Do they do recreation in this space? And what religious rooms would they have? We got some tables here in case you need some ideas. So let's just make a list now. So chronic tower, they probably have, okay, so let's just start with like eating, like living. So they probably have like a dormitory. They probably have a kitchen and a dining hall, all of them to eat together. I'm kind of imagining like, you know, these people are living in like a commune kind of situation. So it's unlikely that individual people have our own personal spaces. More likely that most of them share sleeping quarters, you know, share dining hall, that sort of thing. There's most likely a leader. So let's see, leader quarters. Okay, so they have some kind of disease. So they probably have cells for those. They have like, you know, isolation cells. I'm actually curious now, like what kind of rooms, kind of a gross thing to Google, but like there's always been like leper colonies, and you know, basically when we didn't understand diseases, it was a lot easier just to put everyone who was sick somewhere's remote. So I'm trying to imagine like what kinds of buildings they might have in a leper colony. Okay. Infrastructure of a leper colony. Yeah, so these are all good points. They probably have a cistern. Latrines. They probably have cells, probably have some kind of hospital for people who are fatally sick. If we imagine they're trying to cure their disease, then they probably have an operating theater, alchemy labs, herb garden. In just terms of like living, they probably have like a workshop. Kind of a gross thing to Google, so hopefully we don't see anything too nasty here. This is definitely part of the process. Like we just want to do research. Abandoned rooms is interesting. Yeah, let's see if I can use the kind of a noob. Yeah, table is what I want. Cells. Just to use the space a little bit here. Rooms. Well, let's do miasma rooms. So yeah, I'll try to get some in all the categories here. Like opium dens, you know, people, they probably are looking for some relief from being affected by this plague. Maybe a small chapel, but something that would be looked down upon by most people in this place. And of course, defensive structures like an armory. Maybe a Bailey. So basically we just want to go until we don't feel like we have any more ideas. I wonder in terms of burying their dead, maybe there should be a bell room just because this is a tower. Oh, that's another good point. We should think about like what's in a tower. Probably have like a defensive staircase, and they probably have like a curtain wall. Okay. And one more idea that I had, probably have a farm and defensive staircase. Okay, so that's a list. I mean, that's a bunch of stuff. I didn't really mean to make so many cells here. These are randomly bold for some reason. Whatever. Fine, good enough. Okay. So, ruin. Ruin has come to this land. Most dungeons are ruins. So, what happened here? That's only a two dice table, so 44. Natural disaster. So a flood, an earthquake, a fire. You know, fire is interesting here because, you know, with working with chemical, I'm sure there's a risk of flammable things. Air ravaged the tower, but the question is, did the builders weather the fire or were they all destroyed? You know, these builders sound somewhat, they kind of sound like good guys, you know, like they're not here, they're here because of circumstance. So in that context, it's a bit weird for the players to like come and raid their house. You know, it's just like breaking into your sick neighbor's house to steal their stuff. So maybe they were mostly wiped out by the fire. Not sure exactly what that means for the dungeon yet, but we'll see. Okay, time passes. New factions arrive at the dungeon looking to make use of it. Yeah, so if the builders are gone, create a new faction that's taken over. And if the builders are still here, create a new faction that conflicts with them for supremacy. I don't know the answer to this yet, but we'll just wait. We'll wait to see if the answer comes to us. New faction. Let's roll 62. 6. Oh, it's a single powerful monster. That's interesting. And I'll just use the other two rolls here. 26. Success. Its goal is excess. They want to enrich themselves with gold, food, pleasure, etc. What kind of creature is this? 46. It is a homunculus. That's really interesting. That's really interesting. That kind of lines up with what we got going on here. Of course, there's something, you know, the dungeon's not in steady state when the heroes arrive. Everyone doesn't have what they want. We want to build tension into the dungeon. So casualties are preventing the homunculus from having the excess it wants. I think this is interesting, and it to me it indicates that the humans are still here, but they are subservient to the homunculus. You know, they've been forced to serve it for fear probably of being wiped out. See if the dice have anything interesting to say about that. Yeah, well, survival. Humans' goal is survival, then maybe they decided to serve this homunculus that has come. So that's really interesting. So we can roll on the impulse table to see what the nature of the homunculus is, like how does it behave? And this is a D366 table, so we'll just cut this in half to a 3, and that's 343. Fanatical. That's interesting. I don't know what to make of that. A fanatical homunculus. Sometimes if I'm stumped, I'll also just reverse the dice roll and see what that would give you. 346. 346 is corrupt. Corrupt homunculus. Hang on, my cat's hungry. Okay, back. The humans were mostly wiped out by the fire. So, fanatical, not really doing much for me, but corrupt is interesting. So here's what I'm imagining. So now we put it together, look at the notes, figure out what's going on. I want to say, so this homunculus is up and it craves excess. I think it craves drugs. We have our plague-ridden humans who believe in alchemy. They create this homunculus in an attempt to, you know, do a cure. Something like the perfect being, complete resistance to the plague. They're hoping that by creating this creature, they can figure out how to cure themselves. A great fire breaks out in the tower and kills many. The homunculus is severely burned in the fire and can only be assuaged with, let's say opium, but we can make it a little more fantastical with this Black Lotus. Humans now live in fear of their homunculus, who will fly into murderous rages if it is not plied with Black Lotus regularly. So this is interesting. We have a scenario where, you know, we have these humans and they sick. They created a homunculus to try to figure out how to cure themselves. There's an inadvertent fire that burns much of the tower and burns their homunculus, who now is like a berserker being who can only be come with Black Lotus. So now these people, all they can do is try to restore homunculus, or, you know, like ply it with drugs to keep it from killing them all. That's pretty good. Does this put the humans in opposition with the party? I would say the humans are still like prisoners basically in the tower. They serve the homunculus because they really have no choice, and also it's still their best chance of curing themselves. But when the players show up, what what is that like? Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of an interesting dynamic where they're semi unwilling and semi willing prisoners of this creature. So humans motivation. First of all, they need to keep the homunculus alive. Homunculus alive. It holds the key to curing them. They also fear it and want to control it. So if players show up here, you know, some of the humans they encounter, probably, you know, they probably don't all agree, but some of them would want them to kill the homunculus. Some of them wouldn't. They would absolutely say, no, you cannot kill this creature. We also have the problem of treasure. Treasure is very important to a dungeon crawl. Where does the treasure come from? If the builder, you know, an easy excuse is that builders found the dungeon as it is. The treasure is from earlier occupants. That's an answer. Another answer is that a rich noble infected with the plague brought all his wealth to the tower. Yeah. So, you know, I was thinking about whether or not we needed another antagonizing faction, you know, like another faction to provide like more enemies to fight. We could also say that there are plagued humans who are no longer sane, I guess. You know, like the disease has addled them so much that they are just like zombies or something. Okay. I'm feeling okay about this amount of factions. And we have a decent amount of lore that we've created. So now we get to the dungeon section, and those of you who have used Gentle's Dungeon Guide before, you know that this really didn't happen so soon, but that's an improvement in this version of the system. We are making the dungeon sooner. Okay, now we need to grab 6 dice and drop them onto paper. And this is just to provide like kind of like a interesting room layout. An easy way of doing that on the PC? Let me check. Hey, I'm back. Okay, we have a dice roller. So now we're on the stage where we need to draw some loops. So we want to grab 6 dice and drop them onto the page and then use that to form our rooms. Since I am on the computer, we will have to use some digital methods, but that's okay. I think canvas is what I want here. Yeah, great. So we'll call that room 1. We don't know exactly where everything is going to land yet, but that is okay. Okay, so here's the dice roller I put together. So let's go ahead and roll. So we rolled 4d6 and we need 6 dice total. So I'll roll a d10 and I'll roll a d20. That seems pretty good, just because this is supposed to be a tower. So it's going to be mostly like, you know, squares and circles and stuff. So now I have to roughly recreate this layout in Obsidian. So we will do something like this. Oops, I guess I shouldn't number them. And then, so this is a 3, then this room should be slightly larger. 2, this should be slightly smaller. And a 5, so this should be larger still. And this is the D20. So a bit of an obsidian noob. I actually might not be able to add a circular room, so we'll just type circular in here and kind of position it like that. And then we also have this room. We'll make it a rectangle just for visual interest. And I'm trying to keep it roughly the size of a piece of paper. Okay. So we drew some shapes around the rooms, roughly, going by relative size of the dice or the roll. We need to connect those rooms with passageways to form a loop. And I feel like I see a nice little loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. And drag it back. Okay, there is our loop. So now we need to choose a loop type, which is on the next page here. 6 types, and each of them's a different pattern for the dungeon. So let's go ahead and just come back over here so I can roll to 1, long A, long B. Okay, this is a nice and simple pattern, and that's actually pretty good because it has the if we want to, it could be patrolled by a guardian, and I think it will be. It'll be our homunculus creature. That was a test. Okay. Maybe I'll just take a picture of this and we can put it in the dock. Cool. So dungeon map. We have long A, long B pattern, which means that, oh, I see a slight problem with doing it this way. Okay, we'll still have to work with this. So if we imagine this room as the start, so we just have to pick 2 rooms to be the start, the goal. Doesn't really matter which ones. This could be the start, that could be the start. And in fact, maybe the smallest room should be the start, and this room will be the goal. Circular room, rectangle room. Okay. Well, maybe we'll throw that picture back in there. This is slightly easier to do on a piece of paper because you can just draw. That's okay. All right, we got our room. So long A, long B, and controlled by the. So we need to select the dungeon entrance. So loops contain starts and goals. Sometimes they can contain other things like locks, keys, and valves. In this case, we just have a start and a goal. So the dungeon entrance is a staircase, which makes sense. So staircase. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so we just rolled a staircase. Now we should roll. What's at the goal? What's at the goal? We got a 6, which is the beginning of another loop. So that's cool. That makes sense. Because once we get to the end, well, we're at the end of this loop. We drop more loops. We keep drawing loops until we have 4 loops total, which is about which is close to 30 rooms, which will give us a bit of wiggle room. Cool. So more loops. Since this is a tower, I feel like it makes sense that there's a staircase leading up to the next floor for our next set. So that's what I will do. And now let's roll the. Ooh, we got to clear. Now let's roll the dice. We'll just do the same mix as before. So 4, 5, 6. Okay, and we get a layout like this. I better make a note here. Floor 1. Now we have floor 2. No. Draw. Staircase leading up. It's not to go through that, but oh well. I guess beggars can't be choosers. So here is our layout for this floor. So I guess if we imagine this room to be this one, this needs to be a bit bigger. Then we'll put this over here. And this over here and a little bigger since it rolled a 4. And big again because this is another 4. And then I'm trying to keep it all on one page here. This down here, I think maybe I'm blocking this, sorry. This is our circular room. And this is our rectangular room. And again, we want to make a loop. So start from here and maybe just for a little bit of an interesting layout, we'll go like this. So kind of into the inside and then to the outside. That and linking back up to form a loop. Cool, another loop. 2 loops. We want to set the loop type, so we're gonna roll dice. What I want. All right, there we go. Loop type. I should just add these dices to the top to make it easy. There we go. So I'll roll it, and that's a 4. So 4 is short A, long B, beta. So if you imagine that, name this map. So if we imagine that this direction is A and this direction is B, the start is a staircase, and the goal, which is along the A path, are very close. But there is a one-way valve so that anyone coming this way is blocked off from returning. They can't use this path to come back. They have to continue going through rooms to get back where they came from. Or alternatively, the party can come the other direction and then get to the goal, and then if they use this path, then it closes behind them. Okay, cool. We have a table for valves here, so if we wanted to know what this valve was exactly, we could figure it out. We rolled a 5, which is a curtain of flame. That's interesting, but I feel like maybe collapsing bridge is more appropriate since a bunch of the tower is supposed to be burned from a fire that happened. So I'll just ignore my roll because I feel like this makes more sense. And you can do that. The dungeon generator is here to help you, not a set of handcuffs. Okay. The goal. So now we have to figure out what the goal is on this floor. Hello? I think maybe that was a 4 and it just didn't roll. I'll just click it 10 times, close my eyes. 9, 10. Okay. We got a 6. Goal is the beginning of another loop. Of course. Well, this is a tower, so that does excuse me, that does make sense. We'll probably not go higher than 3 floors here, but we'll put that down there for now. Staircase up. Might be too small for you to see. Staircase up. Okay, now we need another loop. We're going on our 3rd loop, and the system recommends that you have 4 loops. And that's just because, a dungeon crawl, the game, Shadowdark really only shines when you get to around 30 rooms. So the system's having you create 4 times 6, which is 24 rooms, which leaves you a bit of room to add some more stuff if you want to. Okay, so we're on our 3rd loop. We have to roll some dice again. So let's clear the board and roll 4d6, roll a d10, roll a d20. You don't have to roll those dice. That's just what I'm choosing to do. I feel like it makes sense for this this level or this dungeon I'm making. Okay, cool. So we have to make our third floor now, and we want it to be roughly what got rolled here. So there, over there, 2 rooms that are touching. And then I think this is the smaller dice. That's the D10, so we'll make that the rectangle. And then this room down here will be the circular room. Okay, so connect that up just for convenience sake. We'll say the start is at the top here again. Well, okay, no, why not? We'll just put it down there. Why not? Who's gonna stop me? Okay, now we need to make a loop. A loop. So there to there. Actually, doesn't it make sense? Doesn't it make sense since these are touching, they're connected? So maybe that's where we'll end. That's a little tricky, actually. So if these 2 are connected, then this is connected, this is connected, this is connected, this is connected, and we close our loop there. So loops don't have to be in circles. As long as the chain of rooms are forming that loop, it can come in funny shapes like this. So let's see what kind of loop pattern we have. Roll the dice, and we got a 2. Long A, short B. So long A, short B. So we have the start room, and path A, the long route to the goal, and B offers a short route, but the goal is soft lock. It's hidden behind a secret door or a puzzle, or hard to reach, or highly dangerous. So I feel like this should be the goal, and I'm just going to decide now that this is a secret. Excuse me. I'll just decide that this is a secret door. Oh, I wish I could see that text. Okay, guess that'll do. Whatever, just leave it there. Okay, so that's the soft lock. The start and the goal are right next to each other on the short B path, but our soft lock is a secret door. So there's no key that they have to find. They find the door. You know, Bob's your uncle. They found the goal. Since we're on the 3rd floor, this time I'm going to... Nope, that's the wrong thing. This time I'm going to say that the goal is treasure. This is the treasure hoard. Cool. We have 3 loops. Now we need to find a place to put the last loop. So you can put loops at goal rooms like I've been doing. They could start randomly in the middle of a loop, or they could be placed on a separate floor and connected. I think to me, since this is a tower, towers are always thicker at the base. I feel like it makes sense to put another loop down here, and yeah, you know, because there's probably more rooms at the base because it's where the earth is. So we will put another loop starting. I can pick a room at random here. I'm just going to pick this one. I think that's interesting. And actually, since this is the ground floor, I guess this is just an entrance. Nothing special. Okay, let's roll some dice. 4d6. We'll throw a d8 in there and a d20. I like those circular rooms. Okay, we have an interesting layout. Let's try to recreate it. Was that our default room size? That was. So how this set is set up is this is a circular room. I'm just going to imagine that it's touching, and then we have this square room. Then we have this other square room, and this one, actually this one's a 5, so it's bigger, and this is a 6, so it should be even bigger again. We got a 2 up here, so we got a little broom closet like that, I guess. And last room, I would do a different shape if I could, but we'll just call this, I don't know, a hexagonal room, and just try to imagine that. Okay. I'm going to say this is the start. I feel like that makes sense. And now we need to form a loop. So, actually kind of weird to go right to the broom closet. So do like this. Okay. And I would move this so we could see it better if I could, but and Obsidian's not going to cooperate. Okay, that is our loop. So now we must roll. Got a 1, and its loop type is long A, long B. We already got a long A, long B, and we already got a long A, short B. I think, yeah, we did. So I'll just roll again. Another 1. Okay, 6. A lake. A lake. So this is probably the more unique of the loop types. A lake is where there's a central room that is connected to all the other ones. You can imagine this like a bunch of rooms around a lake, or maybe around a courtyard. And that's probably what I will do here. Probably what I will do is we'll add another room. We'll put it right there. And we're going to make this the lake room. So this is the central room. Every other room is connected to the lake, which I think is going to be a courtyard. So we can imagine that this is, you know, some kind of enclosed courtyard next to the tower. There we go. Oops. And a damn skeleton's in the way. Sorry about that. Every room should be connected to the lake. Mamma mia, please. A lot of arrows. But hopefully this is slightly clear, where every room in here is connected to this courtyard. Now it's clear as mud. Here, I'll have to move this just to help elucidate. And we'll move this arrow down there and this arrow over here. That doesn't help a whole lot. So, okay, I think that helps slightly. Okay. Yeah, I think that does it. So we still have the loop amongst all the rooms, but they're all also connected to the courtyard. Okay, so we have to pick a goal room. It's usually the one that's on the opposite side from the start. So yeah, normally there's 2 rooms between it, so it must be this one. And the goal here, let's roll and find out. I could just pick treasure. Useful NPC. See, that's the beauty of the roll system, because getting a useful NPC at the goal is actually pretty interesting. You know, like who or what is this useful NPC? And already we can think of some possibilities of who this could be. Okay, so we have a layout. We have all the loops we need, and we're close to 30 rooms. I think we probably have 5, including the lake. Okay. Now that we have drawn our loops, we must stock the rooms. We have to look at the room list that we generated earlier and decide what each room in the layout was built for and note it down. So this is the original purpose. You know, new factions could come in and change the purpose of a room, you know, but when it was built, it had a specific purpose in mind, and it's hard to remove those traces from a room's DNA, let's say. So here's our list. Here's our list of stuff. Let's zoom in. This is the list that we talked about earlier. So if I'm imagining this area, these rooms are this is like the main floor, right? And these rooms are part of the courtyard. Oh, that's cool. I didn't have to color these. Okay. And then we have the floor 2. We will group. And then we have floor 3. And that arrow's the wrong way. Okay. So this main floor, what would go on a main floor? Well, probably the latrine, right? Like, where else are you gonna poop? On the, oh, well, actually, maybe the latrine makes more sense to be in the courtyard, since that's like, you know, a natural place, you know, or it'd be easy to dig a hole there for latrine. The main floor probably would have some defenses, so maybe this is a defensive staircase. Well, actually, since this is on the ground floor, would it really be a defensive staircase? I'm gonna say this is like a guard post, at least in terms of how this thing was built. So we want to reinforce the theme right away. We don't want to waste any time. So I'm thinking this could be the hospital. In this could be the alchemy room. Hospital, alchemy lab, guard post, that we didn't write that down, but that's okay. Guard post, and we'll cross it out. This is probably a storeroom, and maybe where the fire started. We don't have storeroom written down, but that's okay. I'm coming up with new stuff now that I got the creative juices flowing. And this might be the dining hall. The kitchen probably wouldn't be too far away from the, kitchen and the dining hall probably wouldn't be too far away. So maybe that actually should move. Maybe this is the dining hall where our useful NPC is. Or actually, well, we should be careful about where we're putting the useful NPC, because the room that they're in is going to imply story. So for now, I'm going to put them in the herb garden. Maybe this will be the dining hall, and this will be the kitchen. And this will be a small chapel, probably shunned or disused by the occupants. Kitchen, small chapel, dining hall. Oh yeah, we should have a cistern, right? So the circular room probably makes sense, where we would have the water. So here is the cistern, and we got the latrine, we got the small chapel. This could be the defensive staircase. That twice, I guess. Bring this down here so we can read it easier. So now this might be a good spot right here for an opium den. You know, or I guess I should say lotus den. Opium, something that's in the real world, so I want to keep it a little fantastical. We'll say that maybe this room is shunned and is a miasma room. Maybe this is a circular room. It's the dormitory. This floor kind of has like a practical focus, so maybe this is the workshop, where they made tools and stuff and glassware and whatnot. It's this room, so we got to put something there. Herb Gardens is gone. Maybe this is an armory. Courtyard and Bailey are basically the same thing, so do that. And for some reason, for the treasure hoard, I want to make this the bell room. You know, imagining a bell on top of the tower. Just move that over for a little bit better legibility. Same with this. Okay. So we have a staircase coming up, and this staircase probably just be a staircase. No big. So it's connected by the secret door, and it's also connected to this room. So maybe this circular room will be the operating theater. This will be isolation cells for folks that have been isolated and are awaiting surgery. And what do we have left? Leaders' quarters. So yeah, leaders' quarters, and maybe just have a laboratory where the homunculus was created. Okay, just making sure I got all the rooms. Yes, they've all been labeled. All right, so now that we know what these rooms were for, we're gonna stock them with actual encounter data. So actual, stuff. Okay, so we have a D66 table here for stocking rooms. We'll stock things with monsters, obstacles, or lore. And we should note down anything else of importance. I think we had... This was long A, long B, and I think the homunculus is patrolling this. Homunculus patrolling. Okay. So let's roll now for the room stock. First up, we have a 63, which is a Lomel. So we just wanted to note that down. Pull this out just so we can read it. This room is going to contain lore. And then going along the A route, we get an obstacle. Lomel. What did we get? Fuck, I don't remember now. 61? Is that right? 61? No, that's can't be right. Yeah, fuck, it changes every time you refresh it. Lore. I think we get Lomel. I think it was this. So, obstacle. Another obstacle. A monster. And lore and a lore. Cool. All right, let's stock this one now. 16. Now that we know that that re-rolls every time we look at it. So starting with an obstacle, and then a monster, and then lore, and then an obstacle. I actually know that there's the NPC in this room, so maybe I'll put the obstacle here. And then lore in the latrine. God only knows what that's going to be. Then another obstacle in the kitchen. Now for the next floor. 33. Defensive staircase contains lore. Gold staircase up contains the lore. Pull that out just so we can read it. And then the workshop contains a monster. And the miasma room contains lore. And the dormitory contains an obstacle. And the lotus stead contains an obstacle. Okay, now the last floor. 43. Staircase contains lore. Next entry. I think I'm gonna go this way. I'm not sure which way I went initially, but like the idea of a monster in the isolation cells, and then an obstacle, and then lore. Fuck! What did I roll? I'm so sorry. Was it 43? It doesn't help that this changes every time I look at it. Maybe we can guess. Lore, monster, obstacle. Lore, monster, obstacle. It could be that. Lore, monster, obstacle. It could be that. I'll do Elmo again. Laboratory contains a monster. And the bell room contains another obstacle. Okay, we have an idea of what's in every room now, but we need some specific. So that's why we have the monster, obstacle, and lore stocking tables, which will let us populate what's in all these rooms. I think at this point I should key all these rooms and pull them over into the word side of this. So I'm just going to do that real quick. I'm back, y'all. It's a day later. So we're stocking the dungeon. I went ahead and numbered all the rooms, just so we had that. And let's get started. So the first room is our guard post. This is the entrance to the dungeon. And it contains lore. Oh no, I don't have my dice roller up. Wait, yes I do. 666. Alright. Lore. Contains some lore about the dungeon, yeah. We really don't have enough data yet. Yeah, so I don't feel like we have enough data yet. So I might skip this room. Alchemy room. Contains an obstacle. Yeah. Maybe we'll figure out what the trap is now. 30. Let's roll again. Okay. Hidden trap. Unique furnishing. So maybe there's some kind of experiment. Let's see what the trap method gives us. Proximity trigger. It damages light. And the attack method is suck. Okay. Weird. Maybe this is some kind of device to suck miasma out of the air. But it also sucks. It also extinguishes fire. And that's interesting too, because maybe that's how they put out the fire in the dungeon. So maybe it's some kind of canister. Yeah, let's say it's a metal canister. So that's interesting. Okay. Storeroom with an obstacle. 22. Another trap. according to the advice in the guide, we should make multiple. If we get traps and we have a hidden trap, there should be multiple hidden traps. So we will say miasma canister. Maybe this one's full and expels miasma instead. That's cool, and it's kind of a variation on the existing trap. Okay, staircase. It has a monster. Powerful monster. So maybe if the players have not encountered them so far, the homunculus is here descending the stairs. One, two, three, four. Ooh, 2 4s. Oh, that'll mess everything up. I guess this will we'll do this. And apologies to everyone everywheres. All right, armory. Some lore. Unknowable lore. Bizarre item architecture or phenomena. I feel like since this is an armory, there should be some kind of bizarre item here. Not sure what it is yet. Maybe it should be related to the original builders of the dungeon. If we imagine someone else built the tower, then let's just do a quick generation to see what the other builder was like. A goblin. Okay, that's interesting. And what was their impulse? 466. So we'll call that 266. Impassive goblins. Okay. Maybe this is a tower shield with a sneering goblin face. You know, impassive, a tower shield, a huge tower shield, something that you kind of stand behind. And since goblins made it, I don't know, it's got a goblin face on it. Hospital. This will also contain lore. So 6, an NPC. Yeah, so there should be sick human here looking for treatment. Okay, next is the cistern. There's an obstacle in the cistern. A hazard. Exploding barrels. Oh, I only needed 1. Here is bottled. I got bottled storm, but maybe plague barrels makes more sense. So the plague barrels don't do anything on their own, but with someone busts them open, they have this effect. So, you know, it could be something that the players accidentally just pick open and explodes in their face, or they could use it against some enemies, lure them here, you know, or take the barrel somewheres. Just a bunch of options. Okay. Kitchen. Kitchen contains an obstacle. I think that's gonna be a trap again. I think in this case, since this is a new area, I'm okay with changing the trap type. What kind of trap is it? Is a trap with a tell, the most classic kind of trap. Remnants of previous triggers, broken arrows, scorch marks, etc. Trap with tell, remnants of previous triggers. So the trap is triggered when it's looked at, and 63, it attacks via boulder and attacks the body. Okay, so silly idea, but victim hiding in rafters. A boulder. Oh, you could just have a big rock. Drops a big rock at anyone who spots it. Signs that he's been here. Parts of the kitchen have been smashed by large rocks. So this isn't the first rock he's thrown, and it won't be the last. Okay, so kind of a weird situation, but hey, it's interesting. It's interesting. That's why sometimes when you get weird results, the first instinct is to be like, oh well, I don't know what this is. I'm just gonna throw it out. But sometimes it can be a challenge. It can be a challenge to come up with something that you wouldn't normally do. You know, a challenge to stretch. Okay, so lore, the latrine contains dungeon lore. I'm gonna skip this for now because, well, I don't know. Okay, well, let me finish the courtyard, and then we'll go back and think about the lore for the first level. So where's the small chapel? Gonna contain a monster. Roll please. 6. Mindless monster. That's cool. Maybe there's just some corrupted, I don't know what we call them, like maybe like plague ridden. So there's just some zombie type dudes here. Dining hall. Contains a lore of some kind. More unknowable lore. Leering goblin faces carved into the ceiling reliefs. So just more hints of goblins. We don't know why. Courtyard. Contains an obstacle. 2 dice roll. Curiosity. So some kind of magic pool, strange device, switch. Very interesting. Let's think about that for a sec. Oh, hey there, everybody. Well, it's a day later, actually several days later, and we're back at it. So last time we were unlocking the rooms for the dungeon, and going through that process. In several spots, we have dungeon lore to put into the room. We weren't really sure what to put in yet. So I thought to myself, well, maybe we should go back and just make a few bullet points about pieces of dungeon lore that you might want to convey. Right now, we'll be able to go back and do lore for history, but we'll have to wait if we want to get lore for some other things like secret doors or keys or traps. Okay. So let's go back. Ideological humans built the dungeon are plague victims. So let's call them the Ridden. Ridden come from a nearby vale. They are infected with the plague, a disease that mutates them into monsters. Yeah, actually, maybe the plague. Okay. also have the aspect of them being ideological. So let's just say the leaders. Since they're against gods, maybe they were cursed by the gods they believe in. And they now believe in science and seek to use alchemy to cure their condition. Oh, I don't know. We'll just call the leader Balthazar. That's a sciencey sounding name. Brought the Ridden to the tower to research your. Under his leadership, they reject worship of the old gods. Probably be specific about the god. Important when you're writing to always be specific. You can start general, but eventually you have to have those details, or your lore is like a pasty goo that just slides down the throat rather than a nice textured steak to chew on. It's like gross. Analogy, I must be hungry. Okay, so the Ridden come from... We need a name. Bust out the book of names. Transmute? Okay, so we got people names, but maybe we'll look at the medieval for some location names. Maybe the Lapsa Vale. That sounds like it could be a location. It's not just like the Henry Vale or something. Ridden. From the Lapsa Vale, they're infected with the plague. Lapsa. They were driven out by their fellow Lapsans. Were being cursed by gods. Maybe we'll just use Shadowdark's god. One of Shadowdark's gods. ETs. I mean, would it really? I don't buy Saint Tragnus would do it. Maybe Geed. Cursed by Geed. Pretty mean thing to do, but maybe their weak faith. Let's say that this kind of thing really true. I mean, this is just what people believe. It could very well be that they just got sick and to kind of cope, their Lapsans convince themselves that these people are cursed, and their situation is not random chance, but their own fault. When has that ever happened in the real world, huh? Okay, so add some bullets here just for readability. So yeah, we got some stuff. It's flagging this. Add it to the dictionary. Please stop flagging it. I don't know, just triggering me. Also, Geed's for sure a word. Add that to the dictionary. Our dictionary. Okay, Ridden come from Lapsa, the Lapsa Vale. They're infected with the plague. Lapsa, they were driven out by their fellow Lapsans for being cursed by Geed for their weak faith. Plague is a disease that mutates the Ridden into monsters over time. Most believe. That's actually like a new fact. And it's also kind of covered here, so I'll remove it. Leaders, Balthazar, lead alchemist. Brought the Ridden to the tower to research a cure. The gods. Leaders, Balthazar, the lead alchemist. Brought the Ridden. There's always a right hand, you know. You need a lieutenant if you're the boss. Someone to back you up. So we need another name. And actually we should probably change Balthazar because it's not really within the naming scheme we've decided on. Let's just pick something from random here. Darko. Is that a cool name? Probably make it Johans, yeah. Probably make it sound more smarter. Johannes, the alchemist, brought the Ridden to the tower to research a cure. Second. Let's go. Nice names. I want to pick something that sounds like it could be Misex. Levy. This is more just vibes. I don't know, whatever name you like. So Levy. Levy is Johannes's second in command, though is growing doubtful of the plan. I just want to add a little drama, add a little difficulty into your lore. You know, very rarely, actually, well, sometimes things are nice and stable and settled, but as storytellers, it's more interesting if there is conflict in our story. So we just want to try to introduce conflict whenever we can. Yeah, so no gods. So let's say work goes poorly. More and more succumb and have to be killed. That's an aspect. So like in normal plagues, when people get really sick, they just die. But our plague is one that makes you into a monster. So they would either have to just be turning people out into the wilderness, which could be interesting, or executing them. Maybe both. You know, so maybe, well, it could go either way. Ridden are released. Those transformed were initially freed into the wilderness. Or actually, no, it should be the other way. So, Ridden are executed. Those transformed were initially killed and buried in the courtyard. Ridden are freed. Eventually, the burden of murder was too much, and they began locking up the Ridden or setting them loose in the countryside. Work goes poorly, so they've let's imagine that they have, because, you know, it's like this situation has been going on for a little while. So let's imagine they have some measures to slow the disease. Some measures, some concoctions have been created to slow the disease, but no cure. We have two other aspects to deal with, which is the fire and the homunculus. Let's imagine the homunculus was so homunculus is an artificial man. I'm thinking about Frankenstein. Maybe Celebi started kidnapping people on the road in secret and bringing their uninfected bodies to the tower. We'll call this kidnappings. Homunculus. Frankenstein built. Captured by combining captured colors. Yeah, so Levy built it. By combining parts captured. And this also potentially gives us a hook for why people are showing up, and maybe justify why the players get to breach and clear somebody's house and steal their stuff. Let's imagine, so it's more, you can just imagine that the fire was an accident. It's more dramatic if we try to give the proceedings. How did the fire start? When Johannes discovered the homunculus, he and Levi fought. Fire started freeing the creature. The badly burned in constant agony needs Lotus and it's Black Lotus. Yeah. Ridden survivors fly the creature with Lotus and taste it themselves. Treasure and tower built by goblin. So kind of weird for goblins to have constructed a tower. Typical goblin fiction doesn't really involve them being builders. So maybe they were forced or had some kind of divine vision to do so. We'll say built by goblin slaves. That doesn't really explain why they'd make treasure. I mean, who gives the slave a bunch of treasure? Or maybe the people who own this just made the goblins make their treasure. Okay. Casualties. Fire killed many ridden and freed many more mad ones. Mad ridden. So they don't attack other ridden. Only the uninfected. It explains why you could live with like monsters in your house. Fix a few spelling errors. Okay, so I mean, yeah, we thought maybe we didn't have any lore to put in, but we actually had like a bunch. Probably too many facts to fit. We'll try. You know, this is a useful list. So let's look at our dungeon again. So we have a guard post. We want lore. So we probably want to try to set up the situation somewhat. Maybe there should be the front door is barred by a fallen timber, and there are burned bones scattered about the room. You know, people tried to escape the fire as it was happening and met their grisly end. What's the markdown for strike through? Oh, it's 2. Okay. Cool. So alchemy room, hidden trap. So there's a steel device. Steel device that proximity trigger. So activates sudden movement. So if you like move slowly through the room, then it won't trigger. Briefly sucks all the air and miasma in the room into the container. Also extinguishes fire. So it's hidden in the way that, like, when you see it initially, like, you don't know that it's a trap. But the tell afterwards is this steel device is in the room. That's cool. Steel device, we'll call it miasma canister. And that way we can just shorthand it later. Oh yeah, and this miasma canister, but it's full, so it expels miasma when triggered. So that's cool. The homunculus. So I've been playing a lot of well, not a lot of, but I have been playing Resident Evil 2 remake, Resident Evil 3 remake, and I just keep thinking about Nemesis for this. You don't know who Nemesis is? Well, he's a goddess of Greek mythology. Personified retribution for sin of hubris. Interesting. We're thinking about Resident Evil 3. And he's kind of like a gross dude who follows you around. Can't be killed. So you're constantly in the game, you're constantly running from Nemesis, or whenever you fight him, you don't actually defeat him. So homunculus. We can keep fuck it. We'll just keep calling them homunculus. Probably what they call them. The creature. We still want to use the reaction roll. If friendly, ignores the disease. If neutral, stands guard at the top of the stairs silently, and if let's say, okay, if friendly, well plied with Lotus, ignores PCs. If neutral, wearing off, stands guard at the top of the stairs silently, and if hostile, he's jonesing for Lotus, acts immediately. Homunculus cannot be permanently killed. It heals wounds slowly, mutating as it does. Even if butchered or burned, it merely comes back stronger and more grotesque. So this is important. I feel like if the players take this guy down, they'll be like, okay, he's healing. We gotta butcher this thing. We gotta burn it. But that will not work. That will not work. He will merely get stronger. Okay. Armory bizarre item. Yeah, that's cool. Hospital. Sick him in here looking for treatment. So we should name him. Let's say he's so this is a chance. There's a risk here that this could just be like Mr. Lore Dump. He tells you like 100 things. Let's say this is Sue Levy. I think that's interesting. Sue Levy. Deliriously infected. Looking for Lotus. Let's say that he just remembers who he is. He remembers who he is, and what he knows is that he's from Lapsa. He's sick with the plague. Right hand of Johannes, and he begs for forgiveness for creating the monster. That's all he remembers. Let's say on subsequent visits, there's like 3 in 6 chance he's transformed, been mad ridden. Okay, so let's mark that off. And let's see, knows from Lapsa. Let's say driven from Lapsa. It's more interesting. Actually, yeah, because the reveal that Cursed by Jeed is something else, and probably something we want to save just for a little bit more interest. Okay, I already marked it off, I guess. Okay, we got all that. The cistern, like barrels stacked around the room. Oh yeah, so stored miasma. Stacked around the room. Broken roll con, reduce HP by half. I guess Strictly speaking, in our original conception, homunculus is immune to this, but I don't know. It's still fun to have things that the players can mess with, so maybe such a concentrated burst still hurts them. Kitchen. Plague victim hiding in the rafters. Well, an important aspect is we always want to name every NPC. It's just a goblin. They're, or whatever, you know, they're not goblins in this case, but no one's just a guy. So we want to look for a name, something that sounds different than the other names we've used. Levi, Johannes, Urpo. Urpo sounds like a name. Sorry to the Urpos out there, but he sounds like the kind of dude who would hide in the ceiling and throw a rock at you. Urpo the Ridden, hiding in rafters, and he drops a big rock on anyone who spots him. He is conscious. Well, let's say, yeah, I mean, if he only throws it when you look at him, he's self-conscious and afraid, and drops a big rock on anyone who spots him. And I guess he's done this before because there's a few rocks lying around. Marred by blood. Dungeon lore. So here's the latrine. We're not exactly sure what's in here, but let's find out. Transmute. Okay, so we have the stock. We have the stalker. We have some advice here on the lore. So how is the lore delivered? We need our dice roller. Transmute. Okay, so we want an idea on how to deliver some more lore in the latrine. So we got the set dressing lore delivered as table. Let's roll on it. Get a roller. Oh, it's down there too. Okay. All right. We got a 4. So traces, battle, executions, burnings, cave-ins, parties, ceremonies. Not a lot of those happening in the latrine, but probably figure something out. Yeah, maybe there is a written here. Surrounded by bottles of lotus. One is half full, one that he took. And again, we want to give everyone a name. They're not just ridden, they're ridden. Okay, so he went into the bathroom to take a dose. Oh, mindless monsters. Yeah, so I'm calling them mad ridden, actually. Mad ridden here. No sense left. So yeah, some amount, you know, we'll figure out the right number later. Here we have some unknowable lore. Let's mark that off. Somewhere. Yeah, we can call that marked. Cool. And curiosity in the courtyard. So, as a reminder, a dungeon curiosity is thing. Had a cool, strange device, mysterious switch, or something else. Chance for players to reap a boon or a bane. There's a typo. So, what should be in a courtyard? Random generators. One that I quite like is Old Skull Underworld Generator by Kent David Kelly. The layout of these books isn't the best, but a lot of good stuff. There's Katarina from League of Legends. So we want to find the tricks section. 176. When Kent says tricks, he means the same thing that I do when I say dungeon curiosities. So yeah, call them specials, I guess. Or old school design element. They don't kill you. They're not meant to hinder or kill you. Tricks are eerie and enigmatic effects that do something, you know, and something for you to play around with. So let's roll on this table. So 44 impious. Okay, well, that impious. Portcullis. Okay. Positive tricks, negative tricks. Okay, so it could be a positive trick or it could be a negative trick. Let's just roll less than 51 or 50 or less positive. It's a negative trick. So changes race. Changes race to a goblin. For 24 hours. So what the hell is this? So it's a portcullis. So it's an impus portcullis. So maybe in the courtyard. Let's see this whole thing, please. Maybe the centerpiece of the courtyard is a gazebo that is so let's try this. So I'm just thinking like portcullis, how would that be in a courtyard exactly? Overgrown gazebo, 4 entrances, each with a portcullis. Each portcullis gate is worked with the image of a goblin clutching the bar, clutching the bar initially. One passing under portcullis. DC 15 whiz or transformed into a goblin for 24 hours. The question is, how did the Ridden deal with this? Maybe they just stayed away from it. I was thinking maybe they, you know, like blocked it off somehow, but they really had other things to worry about. So after they found out about this thingy, they probably were just like, okay, everybody stay away from it. Okay, and just like that, we have our Dungeon Curiosity. So isn't that weird? Like, I think that this will be such a strange thing to happen. The players will be like, what the fuck? Oops. Okay. That's also, some people might say, oh, that's kind of random. Like, I don't know about all this goblin stuff, but I literally don't give a fuck. I love having fun. I think the weirder shit is, the better. So when my players complain about it, I'm just like, shut up. That's how it is. There's a reason. I'm not going to tell you. Anyway. Enough of me being English. We have a herb garden. So there has to be a useful NPC here. Actually, I gotta pee. Hold on. So now we have to stock the herb garden. Has a useful NPC in it, so we will need our book of names again. Okay. This might be our opportunity for a weird little guy, so let's call him Pervello. The players will love that. And Pervello. I mean, he's a lucid person. Yeah, believes they were cursed by Geed, and their friends drove them all out. Came to Tower to find a cure, though Johannes hasn't seen Johannes in a few days. Afraid of the homunculus, doesn't know where it appeared after the fire. Sometimes he leaves Lotus bottles outside for it, and it's left him alone. So we just want to establish that that the homunculus is hasn't seen or left the garden. So he doesn't really know anything about the fire because he's been staying in here. He is feeding the homunculus with Black Lotus. Probably this guy in the latrine, Alto, has been taking the juice recently, so that's why that could explain why the homunculus is raging right now. Let's say Pervello has 1d4 doses ready to go, but he's unwilling to give it up because he's addicted to the stuff too. So what does he want? If the crawlers agree to kill the homunculus, he's willing to give them up. Okay. So we have an NPC. He's got some motivation. That's great. And he can deliver some info. And he's got some items that are of use to the party. So now we're done with the courtyard. And I believe that we didn't miss any lore, so that's good. Okay. On to room 13, the defensive staircase. Let's imagine that I just want to throw some interest in here. So the defensive staircase, let's imagine it hinges from the second. So let's just establish. So it's a square spiral staircase, the second floor. The final flight is on hinges and currently folded up on the second floor, unreachable from the landing. So, you know, if you imagine like a spiral staircase that's square, that goes up half a flight of steps, has a long landing so that you can face the other way, and then another set of steps to get to the second floor. That second flight is hinged up and inaccessible. And we'll just say can be pulled down. So it's not a huge, honestly, it's not a huge barrier. You can think of 100 ways for crawlers to get through this. They could just like throw a grappling hook or a rope and pull it down, or they could throw a rope and climb up, or a thief could scale the stone wall, or you could throw the halfling, you know, blah blah blah. It's not actually like a big deal at all, but it's just a moment for us to engage with the fiction. The roll, like what we rolled, the lore didn't tell me to do that. That's just my intuition as a designer telling me that we should put something here. This room is flagged as a lore room, so we do want to add something here. Let's see. So this room is flagged as lore, but we do want to add something here. So let's look at the dungeon guide. There's mute. Set dressing. 5. Supernatural. Phantoms, visions, talking corpses, memories trapped in bottles. Let's do a talking corpse. So this is slightly grim, but this is what's coming to my mind. A corpse hangs from the second floor banister by a rough rope. Crawlers hinge the staircase. Well, when crawlers hinge the staircase down, corpse speaks. Beware the mad ones. The disease has claimed their bodies and minds. Beware. Before falling silent forevermore. So, I love that kind of spooky shit. I think it adds a lot of atmosphere to dungeons. Players were probably kind of half expecting this corpse to be a zombie or something, so we can deliver and not have it be too much of a distraction. They'll probably want to like poke it or cut him down and see if he's still alive, but you know, he's a corpse for sure. He's a corpse. Okay, now we're on the second floor. Did we mention the fire earlier? Yeah, there are burned bones scattered about the room, and a burned hole in the ceiling leads to the second floor. So I just improvised this, but I feel like it makes a lot of sense, and it helps reinforce the fire that took place. So this is also technically a secondary entrance. You have to decide where it goes. I'm gonna say it probably goes to the workshop. Based on the rough layout, like this is over here in that box, so it would be like right here somewheres. So it could go to any of these rooms, but out there. Every dungeon needs more than one access point, and this is kind of like an access point because you just walked in the front door. Nothing's happened yet, so really a secondary entrance. I'll also say that here in the courtyard, any of the courtyard walls could be scaled. So what I'm trying to say is if someone wanted to use this as a different entrance, they could just climb over and like the perimeter wall of the courtyard, because it's, you know, probably just on the ground surrounded by a wall. Easy enough access if you have the will. Okay, defensive staircase. So now we have room 14, which is the staircase up, the third floor staircase. Let's imagine that it is, you know, there's a hallway that connects the defensive staircase to the staircase up. Hallway between defensive staircase in here is fire damaged. Collapses if more than, let's say it collapses after the last PC. It collapses while the last PC is standing on it. Last person makes DC 12 dex or fall floor below. So this is what you'd call a soft, you know, this is a soft valve. You know, you could probably imagine ways to cross to cross like, 20 feet of burned floor. And that's fine. That's fine. We just, our intention is to make it, to encourage a certain behavior, but sometimes we don't want to hold a gun to the player's head. You could imagine a scenario where, I don't know, like they just get teleported to this other room, but feels weird with the lore that we've set up so far. So I'm happy with the collapsing hallway. Said bridge here, and a hallway's kind of like a bridge. So that's the walk up, but it's actually in this room. Let's look at we gotta roll first. We got a 6. Dialogue. So maybe we hear voices from the floor above. We don't know who's talking yet, but someone is badgering Johannes if he's found a cure yet. Questioning if maybe complains that soon they'll all be monsters. Complains that soon they'll all. So we'll just cross that off the list. Yeah, no, actually we missed a chance. No gods. So scrawled on the wall that is no gods. We'll just cross that off. This room wasn't marked for lore, but it's a chapel. We have a point here about their disbelief in the divine, so you just add that in. Okay. 15. So this is the workshop. This must be where asthma canisters are built. We had the small chapel with Ridden, but there's no guarantee that players will go here. So I feel like this should populated with Mad Ridden. If we look at the generator, we didn't consult it, but that's okay. We felt like we had a strong vision. I'm just going to roll on this table for interest. See if a tactical situation makes any sense to me. I could foresee a hazard being in this room. I mean, I guess if this is where the miasma canisters are built, then there's, there could just be a canister in here. Something else. So we did roll a hazard. So let's try that. I rolled a 21 in ice. Thin ice, so 1 in 6 chance the ice breaks. In combat, 1 in 6 chance the floor breaks underneath and drops to what room is probably below this? That's like over there. So it probably would be into the hospital. In combat, 1 in 6 chance the floor breaks underneath someone, choose randomly, and drops to hospital. So that's cool. I initially considered, okay, yeah, like Mad Ridden should be in here. The generator was like, there's probably a trap or hazard in this room. what is it? We got thin ice, but obviously that doesn't really make much sense here. But the idea breaking through what you're standing on makes sense for this dungeon. So that's what we'll do. Cool. So now we have the miasma room. So I was kind of vague with this before, but now that we have those plague barrels elsewhere, I want to say plague barrel storage, and many have been smashed open. A thick purple fog envelops this room. A creature who breathes in contact with fog, C12 or like 1/2 HP damage. Advantage if you're carrying fire. This room is set to be a lore room, but my instincts want to make it an obstacle. We could honestly, what we should do is swap two rooms. So the Lotus Den was originally an obstacle. Maybe we can put lore in there and have this room be an obstacle. And you know, it makes sense because we'll probably end up putting an NPC in this room, the Lotus Den, because probably someone hanging out in there, but we'll see. Dormitory. So the dormitory has an obstacle. The question is what? Oops. So the dormitory has a question. The dormitory has an obstacle. The question is what? So let's go look. Obstacles. 36 is a hazard. Okay, let's go look at the hazard generator. 46. Magma acid pools. So acid here makes sense to me. Pools of scorching magma or caustic acid. Falling in is fatal. So what's above this? We could say that the laboratory is, and maybe there was a chemical spill in the laboratory that dumped a bunch of caustic acid into this room. This room is a mess. Beds and personal belongings are half melted and burned. The tiled floor is pooled with bubbling green liquid. The ceiling is open to the floor above. So that just feels right in this scenario. If there was a chemical spill that caused this, then we should have a chamber above that can be accessed. Oops, I put that in the wrong place. Oops, I clicked on the wrong thing. Let's put it right there. We're above. Acid is incredibly caustic. Burns through anything not ceramic. And we'll say becomes impotent in 1d6 days. So just in case PCs get clever and want to start their own acid business, or want to resolve every combat from now on with bottles of acid, we can put a limit on that. Okay, and now the Lotus Den. You may notice at this point we haven't put treasure anywheres in the dungeon. We'll get to that step in a minute. So it could very well be that there's treasure in this dormitory, but we haven't assigned any yet. So that's okay. That will come. We just want to keep thinking about room challenges, or or room stocking, I guess. What opposition or information is present? Lore. So let's find out what kind of lore is in this room. Unknowable lore. Some bizarre item, object, or phenomenon. Okay, that's interesting. I don't really have any ideas right this second, but Again, let's go consult, you know, one of those nitty gritty color of the bricks kind of generators, like Old Skull here. And there should be a table for room contents. Or wait, no, that's not the right one. It might be room, this one. It's not all cut, all this. Let's try it out. I don't know if this is exactly what I'm looking for. So what do we got? A ghoulish crate map. Continual darkness. I don't think so. Ghoulish crate. I mean, ghoulish crate could be something. But it's not the something I want. E7. A chair. Chair. That's interesting. Maybe maybe there's like a prison chair, you know, like one that you get like strapped into in this room. And sorry, I was just reading the clues and I realized there's a clue here about Ridden being buried in the courtyard. We should probably add that. I don't think I mentioned that. So courtyard, let's say there are a row of 6 graves, all dug in the last month. Inside are the beheaded bodies, Ridden too sick to cure. So that's something. Yeah, we didn't roll over here, but that just feels like the right place to put it. So, you know, no harm in putting lore next to other types of challenges. In fact, it's probably a good idea in general. So this room is probably fire damaged. Cushions and rugs blackened to ash. Prison chair in the corner. I'm tempted to put an NPC here. Actually, I don't want to close those. I'm tempted to put an NPC here. We got unknowable lore though. A prison chair in the corner is carved with goblin motif. Yeah, we'll just say that for now. Like, you could add more detail if you want, but basically the idea. A sturdy, tall, backed chair with leather strapping stands in the corner of the room, carved with goblin motifs. I feel like we've gotten a lot of unknowable lore for some reason, but that, I don't know, it happens. D6, so every result's as likely as the other. Okay, Lotus Den. So what makes this a Lotus Den? Cushions and rugs blackened to ash. An overturned hookah spills dry flour over the blackened floor. We'll change blackened here, singed to ash. Cushions and rugs singed and scorched. An overturned hookah spills dry flour over the blackened floor. A sturdy, tall, backed chair with leather strapping stands in the corner. It's carved with goblin motifs. Okay, that's a room. So staircase up. Staircase up. Lore. This has got to be an NPC. I mean, there's a freaking conversation happening. Let's say Johannes and some NPC that we are about to name. Book of names. Valio. Johannes flees at the sight of PCs, but roll reaction for Valio. Does Valio know? 14. Valio knows that Johannes has captured Ridden in the next room, that he's experimenting on. Valio knows that either Johannes or his LT created the homunculus. And Valio knows that many of their compatriots. We'll just explicitly spell that out. Valio plans to leave and die of his own accord. In 20, we have isolation cells and monsters. So, you know, cells filled with mad ridden. Johannes makes his last stand. Well, Johannes retreats here. If threatened, pulls the, like, what's the, if you have like a, just like a deadbolt that's like sliding, pulls the sliding bolt ridden. So Johannes is grading. He doesn't have much time left, and wants the PCs to leave. That's basically it. Or secondarily wants a cure. If they can somehow convince him that they can cure him. Okay. So that's something. Isolation cells. So there's monsters here, and Johannes will retreat here if he gets a chance, and let them out of their cells if he feels threatened. 21 is the operating theater. So this is probably where the homunculus was made. Obstacle. Contains an obstacle. We have a puzzle. Okay, why not? Fuck it. There's a puzzle here. What is the puzzle? We got the puzzle generator here. So puzzles are hard. Puzzles are a hard thing to do well. There's a riddle. The operating theater probably has a operating table with a dissected body on it. Nearby seating, viewing, and chemicals and tools for operation. Interesting. So we still have to figure out how to fit a riddle into here. We do have the secret door, and I don't think we established the pattern for that secret door. Where is the secret doors? Oh, it's in the generator section. Right. Okay. Secret door patterns. So secret doors really have 3 patterns, in my view. And we rolled the hidden door pattern. So hidden doors are just concealed, you know, as something. Walls, floor, ceiling, behind a statue. They have some tell that indicates they exist. So, you know, there could be scuff marks on the floor. There could be a breeze coming from the gap, or a smell. The door could be discolored, or there could be light peeking through. I want to say, where does the secret door lead? The bell, a bell room, so some kind of belfry. Since it's a bell, well, it could be a breeze too, so I think that would be interesting. Google wall section by breeze. You know, I'd like to be able to read that. So, maybe there's a note here. I'm trying to think of some. So I'm imagining Sue Levy hid the last of their cash as like a fuck you to Johannes. And he's going to taunt him with the secret to the secret door. Let me think about that for a sec. Okay, I consulted with the oracles and came up with the kind of riddle. That's 2 of these in a row. We will open to the last of our treasures and stay hidden. But I suspect the last of our treasures stay hidden forevermore. Yeah, that's something. That's something anyway. So 21. Okay. Yeah, the obstacle was a riddle. Okay. So leaders. Oh, that's the 22. Leaders quarters. Oh my god. Oh, Lord, bear me strength. There we go. There's lore here. What's the lore? Back to page 18. Lore. 3 dungeon lore. Yeah. So this is basically at the end of the dungeon. So we have to think about what kind of lore is useful. So 2 beds on either side of the room. Both have nightstands. Inside the left nightstand is a note. And it reads, okay, that's a note. Johannes is going to kill his creature. So we just finished establishing that there was a conflict between these 2 people. That covers these. So the only ones, yeah, I feel like this has been covered. So we pretty much included all of our lore except for the Ridden being freed. But I guess them being in cages maybe, or Ridden or kept freed. I guess them being in cages kind of hits that, so we'll count that as finished. It's not imperative that you include every piece of lore that you came up with. You can let players fill in the blank sometimes, but you know, we'll be generous and say we got it. Bell room. So the bell room has windows that overlook the rest of the overlooks the courtyard below. There's some kind of obstacle here. Let's see what it is. What did we get? 14? A trap. It's funny, we've basically only, well, not totally only, but we've rolled pretty low consistently here. That's fine. There's a trap. It's the first trap. Well, not the first trap. So new floor. This is a completely new floor. It's been a while since we had a miasma canister, so we'll just make a new trap. I think it's time for a new one. Trap with L. So the trap has a clear sign that danger is present. Maybe this is what happened to Johannes, or I mean not Johannes, but Levy. So Levy is dead here from a trap. Corpse of the past victim. So we have to figure out what the nature of the trap is now. We need a trigger, an attack, and a damage. So let's do trigger and attack. Trigger is being stepped on. Stepped on, trigger. 41 is fire. Seems appropriate. And let's roll another dice. 6. It attacks dungeon navigation. So maybe a new fire. Livy's burned corpse is here. There is a bottle of wild of alchemist fire lies buried under debris. Stepped on, sets the tower aflame, and likely burns the whole building down. So that attacks navigation. You know, that blocks passages and whatnot. So I feel like that's pretty good. I called it Bell Room, but Belfry. Belfry. He is surrounded by windows on 3 sides, because obviously it's just like, it could be on all 4 if that's a staircase. Belfry surrounded by windows that overlook the courtyard surrounding area. Levy's burned corpse is here. So maybe he just caught fire in the initial struggle and died, I guess we could say. And he was carrying a bottle of alchemist fire that got buried under debris. Belfry surrounded by maybe the bell. Let's say the bell has fallen and rests on the floor amongst a pile of debris. Suvilli's crushed corpse is here. So that makes more sense. Like, this thing fell on him. And a bottle of alchemist fire lies buried under the debris. If Levy is unearthed or the debris climbed on, breaks the bottle and sets the tower aflame. Okay. That feels pretty good. Y'all, we have a dungeon. This is the dungeon. You could play this. You could absolutely play this, especially since you wrote it. You know exactly what all this shit means. Well, sorry, except for the fact we haven't put treasure in it yet. I guess that's an important part. But this is dungeon shaped. That's pretty cool. So let's talk about treasure. Stock the dungeon using the GP total and distributing, or use the suggested number of finds listed in the table below. Distribute. Fabulous and legendary treasure go at goals. If a monster is with treasure, it owns it. If a trap is with treasure, it protects it. If the treasure is with the lore, it's probably hidden. The world needs more level adventures, so why don't we say this is a 3rd level adventure and pick the high part of the range on each of these. So in total, this adventure should have 800 gold in it. That's our budget. And then we have some suggested find ratios: 5, smalls, 3 normals, 1 to 2 fabulous, and 0 to 1 legendary. I don't think this adventure merits a legendary piece of treasure. I do think piece of fabulous treasure makes sense here. So our fabulous treasure will go here. Livy's body has a fabulous treasure. And to help generate the specifics of the treasures, I'm going to pull up. So we don't need the lore section, though it kind of is nice that it, maybe I'll just put a blank tab right there so that it, and I'm back from my snack. This little spacer is kind of nice. It keeps the text out of my head, so we'll just leave it. Okay, so now we have to assign treasure. So yes, we have our fabulous find. That is at the goal room, as is customary. Now we want to put treasure in random rooms. So you could do this. You could do this just by thinking about it. Where would the treasure be? Probably with people or hidden, stuff like that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a 2 and 6 roll for every room. This isn't in the dungeon guide, by the way, because I didn't want to get too specific about how you should be assigning treasure. But if you're really stumped, you're like, I don't know, man, I don't know where to put this. Here's something you can do. So 2 and 6 chance treasures in any room, and then we'll randomly determine if it's poor or normal from there. So first room, 2 and 6. Nope, wasn't that. So that room, nope, wasn't an Elky room. The store room, nope, wasn't there. So staircase, nope, it's not there. Room number 4, room number 5, room number 6, room number 7. Ooh, room number 7 has treasure. The kitchen, yeah, that makes sense. So treasure, there's treasure here. Since there's a trap or an enemy here, I'm more tempted to put the normal treasure. Because that's just, I don't know, feels like good design, more money where the danger is. So 80 GP of something. We don't know exactly what this treasure is yet. We probably just don't want to put a bag of gold here. It's not that interesting. So we'll figure that out in a second. Let's keep rolling. So should keep tally too. So poor, normal, we have 1. You're on room 7, so let's do room 8. Oh, there's treasure in room 8. The latrine. I did mention this bottle of Lotus. One is half full, so this will be a poor treasure find, I think. And we'll say it's worth gold. Half a bottle's worth 20 gold. So still valuable, but okay. Room 9, room 10. Ooh, room 10, dining room. That makes sense because there wasn't really anything in here other than some goblin faces. So let's randomly determine 1 to 3 is a poor and 2 to 6 is a normal. So normal find. Another 80 gold find of something. We don't know what yet. Probably not going to be a bag of coins. So 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, a room 14 does. 3rd floor staircase. So all this is the hallway. So just 3rd floor staircase. There's gonna be some treasure here. I'm tempted to make this a poor find. Oh god, was I not keeping track? Okay, so let's do it again. Burpo, he's guarding a normal treasure. Alto is guarding a poor treasure. The dining room has a normal treasure. The courtyard, nope. The herb garden. I mean, this technically does have treasure. Say 80 GP worth of lotus, black lotus oil. Pervello has said D4. Half a dose is 20, so a full dose is 40, so he has 2 doses ready to go. That's another normal. So now we have the defense 3rd floor staircase. We'll put a poor find here. We need to use some of those up, so this is going to be a 20 GP find. 3rd floor staircase. Room 15, I guess. Okay, yeah, so nothing. 16. Ooh, there is treasure in the miasma room, and that's nice because I really don't want to be in the miasma room. So this is another good opportunity for an 80 GP find of some kind. And we'll mark another normal off. I think we only get 3. So we'll push it. We'll say 4 normals and 4 fours. So This feels like a good spot for a poor find. So we'll add it there just based on vibes. And now one more room. We haven't assigned any treasure to the top floor, so probably should do that. But let's see what room that is. So it starts on 19. So 19. Yes, 19. I don't want to, actually, I don't want to put it there because I don't know, it's a staircase. Doesn't feel like a good spot. 20. 21. Nope. 22. Nope. 23. Nope. 24. Nope. Okay, well, start over at 20. Nope. 21. Nope. 22. Yes. The leader's quarters. Find this really could just be 20 GP in loose coin. Because you know the leaders probably had some cash kicking around. So that is all of our treasure finds. Now we need to decide what the treasure actually is. It's more interesting if it's not just coins. The treasure is another chance to tell story. We shouldn't give that chance up. So let's look at a generator. Okay, here we are. Let's look at this really cool book called Crawling Deep. They have some treasure generators. So we kind of have the values already. But this table can help us decide the nature. So I might roll on this a few times just to kind of get in the right ballpark. That was a 6. No, we don't want coins. 37. Don't want coins. 77. Luxury item. Yeah. Page 363. It says it's worth 45, but I don't care. Or there could be 2 luxury items worth 40 each to make a good find. So 363. Luxury item. We need a new kind of dice roll. Dice d20. Let's not get confused here. That's what we're doing. We're getting confused. Please. Why am I flying up whenever I do this? What is going on? 0, 0. There's fuck me. There's probably some reading view. No. Want this? This is the source view. Oh god. Delete them all. So here we are getting sucked back into the black hole here. Use obsidian, they said. It's really good. Look at this. I'm mad. What the hell is this? All right. D20. 6 and 1. A belt. A belt. How about my expensive belt? Sorry, I lost the plot there. I had to fight with obsidian. Where were we stalking treasure? Kitchen. Okay. Yes, so yeah, so maybe a corpse of a smashed traveler wearing maybe he has a huge golden belt buckle with the words badass printed on it. I just love, I don't know, I love silly shit, and it's a belt kind of weird, so fuck it. Why not? Who's gonna stop me? Okay, another piece of treasure, please. 20. Roll a dice. 1. An orb. He had an orb. Is an infernal orb. Sure. I guess this guy went to a truck stop before he came here. And a blood red, let's say a blood red fortune teller orb in his pack. 5 gold. Or I guess each of them is worth 40. I might feel a bit weird to the players, so maybe we'll do 2 and 60 and end up with the same thing. It's really okay. This is hilarious. I don't care who you are. This is really funny. So we have Erpo hiding in the rafters, and he drops rocks on people. And he has killed a traveler who wandered into the tower. who was wearing a belt buckle that says badass and had a blood red fortune teller orb in his back. Come on, man. Okay, what other treasure do we have to create? The dining hall. The dining hall. Let's see. I want to roll a D100 here. Oh, wait. I can put the dice... Y'all. Put the dice rolls over here so I don't have to go find them. Well, I'm glad we figured that out at the end. Whatever. Okay. Where are we at? So... The dining hall. What's in the dining hall? Pathetic gems. Well, there could be. 261. Gems. Generate to roll value. Where? 20. Crystal clear and brilliant. Oh, diamond eyes. That is worth way too much. That is worth way too much. So I guess they could be like really flawed. Really flawed. Qualities. Well, let's roll in the qualities. Okay, yeah, so a bunch of deformed diamonds. Just to integrate, I'm gonna say each of the goblin faces are studded with formed 4 quality diamonds that twinkle. And there's a number of them. Let's say there's 6 goblin faces and 2 eyes each, so 6 each of the 6 leering goblin faces carved into the ceiling reliefs. Each of the goblins' eyes are studded with deformed 4 quality diamonds that twinkle in the torchlight. 6, 12 divided by 80. 12 diamonds worth 6 GP each. 12 form diamonds worth GP. 6 times 12 is 72. So that's pretty close to what it should be. Courtyard. Ravello. 2 doses. 2 doses of black lotus oil. 80 GP total. I'll say 40 GP. 3rd floor staircase. Voices from above. 42. Crawling gear. Yeah, okay. 362. 4. Well, they're poor, so let's see in what way. Stained. Stained crowbar. Cast aside here is a rusted crowbar. Rust's like stained for metal. Lord knows why there's a crowbar here. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's not worth exactly 20 gold, but that's okay. Can we make this make sense though? Oh, maybe maybe Cassiciders a rustic crowbar from a recently disarmed. Who's Johannes arguing with? Valio. So maybe Valio attacked Johannes and then was like, never mind, bro. Let's be cool. 20 GP fine, or 80 GP fine. So let's see what this is. 45. A luxury item. 363. 6. Not another belt. If we get another belt, we're re-rolling. Oh, okay. Okay. What is notable about these boots? They're unique. Great. Great, they're unique. They're unique. Well, maybe they're of a weird cut, you know? Unblemished. Filigreed. Okay, I can work with that. A body wearing silver-tipped boots. Body of a noble wearing silver-tipped boots. Lies in the dust. Each boot is worth 40 gold pieces. Cool. That's something. The dormitory has treasure in it. It's a poor find. This could be 200 silver pieces spilled from a pouch all over the room. Dormitory, yeah. And then we had a treasure in the maybe we'll make this a there's been a lot of notes written, so maybe there's a golden quill here that's worth 20 gold pieces. Now we need the legendary treasure, so let's roll until we hit something that's on this half of the table. Okay, instantly magic item, great. 379, and got a bunch of magic items here. 53. Infernal vaults, huh? D10. Well, I count that as a 2. The black banishing bell. Oh, that's actually crazy because the belfry. Let's see. The barrel-sized bell has fallen and rests on the floor. So the treasure is bell is made of hell iron. Black and hot to the touch. Occupies 3 slots. Is a black banishing bell. So who knows exactly why this is here, but pretty cool. And here's the stats for the black banishing bell. Oops. Nice bell banishing. So it's a cast iron bell that engraved with spiraling infernal script. Okay, I should mention that. Made out of hell iron. Covered in infernal script. Black and hot to the touch. Ring the spell thrice, banishing extra creatures of level 9 or lower that are within near curse. 6-1 charges remaining. Crumbles to dust. Yeah, and this is a large black banishing bell, so we'll say it occupies 3 slots. And Bob's your uncle. Cool. So we just stocked this dungeon with treasure, completely filled with treasure. So you could totally run this now. There's nothing stopping you. Yeah, the next step for us is to key the rooms. This kind of formatting works if you're just running a home game. You just need information for yourself, so that's fine. But if I was going to give this to someone to run, I would want to key it the right way, where we write in a way that is easily parsable, like how Kelsey writes. We have some other stuff we can do as well, which is populate hallways and junctions. Question is, do we have any? We have hallways. Do we have junctions? Do we have junctions? I don't think so. I don't think so per se. No, there's no room where you go 3 ways where I imagine that, or no room where you go 2 ways where I imagine that we'd need this. And traversals, we have no traversals. We do have hallways, though. We could roll some on this and see what happens. It's kind of hard to do at this stage, but... So this... Oh, sorry. This table is actually a real 2d6 table. Because we wanted that normal distribution. Because for the most part, you want to be walking through normal hallways. So, normal... Why don't we do a lot of flipping back and forth? So why don't we just put that there? Kind of blocking it, but it's the same table as the... Okay, we'll try it like that. So 2 to 3, 3 to 4. Say furnished. 4 to 5, 5 to 0, say lined with beds. And then these are all outdoor locations, so I don't feel like I really want to put. So let's do here. It's a one-way hallway, so that's fine. 14 to 15 is really a space in the table, I think. Normal. 15 to 16. Bridge to outbuilding. 6, that's a normal. Lotus Den. Furnished. Okay, and the stairs here. So going from 19 to 20. Nothing. 20 to 21. 20 to 21 is another bridge to outbuilding. We'll say okay for now. And actually, just remember that these are debris or furnished. It probably makes more sense on the bottom floors to be debris, and probably here too, debris. And then we just rolled a 10, so that is also debris. And 22 to 24. What did I just roll? 9. So there's debris here. And 6. Normal. And then there's the secret door. Okay. So just a little color for the hallways. And we don't need most of this, I would say, since we already have a strong sense of most of these spaces. The only thing we didn't really talk about was doors. So let's say there's a 50-50 chance that there's even a door between rooms. And then if so, then we'll roll on this. So 1 to 3, no door. So 1 to 2, okay, we got a door, which is a portcullis. And then from 2 to 3, no door. 3 to 4, a door, a locked door. And 4 to 5, there's a door, which is a wood door. And we'll just see if there's a door going into each of these rooms. So kitchen, no door. Kind of weird actually, because these are outside rooms, so they should all have doors actually. Okay, so let's see what kind of door they have. 2, so regular door. I'm not even gonna write them down, only if they're notable. 8, normal door. 9 has a stuck door, which makes sense. Stuck. 10 has a locked door. We won't do a door for 11. And 12 has a stuck door. Maybe the NPC here has some stuff against the door to barricade it. Cool. Okay, so let's do the next floor. So we'll just go from path to path. 13 to 14, does it even have a door? Yes. And it is a stuck door. 14 to 15 has a door, and it is stuck as well. Maybe by stuck, there's like some fallen debris in front of it. 15 to 16 has a door, and it's also stuck. Man, doors. Miasma room to the dormitory has no door, and the Lotus Den has no door. Going back to the defensive staircase has no door. Okay, up the stairs. Let's start from 19 and work our way around. So does 20 have a door? Nope. Does 20 to 21 have a door? Yes. And it is a portcullis. 21 to 22 has a door, and it is a stuck door. And 22 back to 24 has a door, and it is regular. Cool. Filled with doors. We want our random encounters. So random encounters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the recommended is ill wind, DC 12 dex or torch. It's faction 1, so we'll just say mad ridden. XTX, as we don't know what their stats are yet. Faction 1 would be regular ridden, so some number of regular ridden. Faction 2 would probably be the homunculus. Faction 4, also the homunculus, or well, you know, powerful monster, homunculus. What happened? Faction 1, mad ridden. Yeah, 4 powerful monster, homunculus. 5 mindless monster, the homunculus. And we want to encounter the homunculus pretty frequently. Friendly neutral third party. I would say, let's say there's a looter. Someone who's just come to steal from this place. Oh, we call him a thief. And we should give him a name. It killed homunculus instead. So we should give him a name. Let's give him a Roman name. Whatever, I give him one of these names. Call him Mogdani. What does Mogdani want? Well, let's look at the NPC. Look at an NPC generator. In terms of his role, he's either going to be for survivor. Let's roll for his particulars. He's an adult. He knows job and survivor. Okay. Looking to loot. Not looking to share, but unwilling to fight. Runs if confronted. And let's just see of interest if this is his motivation is safety. Protect someone, something they value. Looking to loot. Safety. Say he's willing to feed his family. How about that? Hey, you gonna kick this guy's ass because he's trying to feed his family? Monsters. Dark past. It's secret. No, you've done something terrible. They're hiding. It could just be something random, but it probably should relate to the dungeon. Did have a dead body earlier. So let's say came here with a friend, but left him to die in the kitchen. So whoever that traveler was with Mogdani, and yeah, when they were confronted, he left him to die under that rock, I guess. If killed, this is a homunculus encounter instead. So that we can probably call the mad ridden, just call them zombies. Homunculus. Munculus. That's not how you spell that. All right. First, we can make up stats for them, but for simplicity's sake, we kind of have like a similar kind of monster, which is the flesh golem or golem flesh. Oh, there we go. Let's see. Yeah, that's basically him. So level 7. Is that a decent challenge for a party? Let's look at the balancing advice in book. It exists somewhere. Okay. Counterbalance. So we're level 3. PCs can handle 4 monsters, and the dungeon gets 20 levels total. So level 7 monster is stronger than the party, but that's okay. Because it's solo, and also it's not something they're supposed to be fighting anyway. But we do, this is relevant when it comes to our mad ridden. They're zombies. And they should have a disease ability because they are like victims. Maddened and deformed human, carrier of the plague, immune to morale checks. How strong is a zombie? Level 2. So we'll just take the dire rat's disease ability. We might take away its relentless plus disease. Cool. That's our mad ridden. The ridden themselves probably should just have peasant stats wherever they are. And we'll also give them the disease or touch disease. Okay. There's our ridden. Let's give them some headings. It's a little bit easier to read. And this doesn't need to be bold. And that's a homunculus. Unending. Read. If killed, returns to life at 20 HP after 24 rounds. After being killed twice or massively disfigured, chopped up, burned, etc. Turns with, I don't want to give him more attacks, but we'll say plus D8 damage to slams. So he just keeps getting stronger the more you try to kill him. Immune to damage from fire, cold, and non-magical sources. Now I'm wondering if I need that. That's a pretty big problem for low-level parties to overcome. Let's make him a little different. We'll take away the golem, leave the berserk, and we'll leave unending. So you can fight him, but he's gonna come back. Okay. We have the mid-ridden, the mad-ridden, the homunculus, and the thief Mogdani. We could include the thief stats here just for completeness. Make it a little easier to run. Thief. Just name him Mogdani. Thief. Okay. So the question is, did we surpass our level limit? Madridden is level 2. Ridden is level 1. And the homunculus is level 7. We'll count Mog down because he's not in a room. So homunculus. Yep. For 1d4 rounds. Whatever, that's a word. Jonesing. Oh, we didn't give this the value. 20 GP plus 3 AC, can't attack, and gain AC benefit. So Levy is a ridden to a mad ridden. Yep. So we got one of these. Well, I don't know. That. Purple of the red one. Well. Another ridden. Some amount of mad ridden. We're just looking for stats. Okay, so mad ridden are here. We'll say, so we know that a regular encounter for this level is 4 levels. Zombies are level 2. So two of them is a normal encounter. Call that 3. Where my mad ridden at? Mindless. So there's no reason to go in this room. So there's 6 mad ridden in here. How about you just shut the door? Three filled with 3, and we'll call this 1d4, and we'll call that 1d4. And the river. Hello. That is stalking monsters. I think we've stalked them all. So should do a count now. Put 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we have the homunculus and we have the room of 6 ridden again, but I'm not going to count them because you're not actually supposed to be fighting them. I don't feel like they count towards my budget. You know, PCs can fight it, and that's up to them, but sometimes fighting isn't worth it. Get the loot is what this game is about. So that's that. Cool. Wait, sorry, is this the name of a politician? I didn't mean that. We'll call him Modani. That might have slipped in consciously or something. Okay. So now, yes, of course. So we have stocked the dungeon. And I think we've done a fair job of keeping it thematic and interesting. But we covered all the bases. We have our experience checklist here, which goes into detail on each of the experience types that we would expect in a game like this. let's just go to the checklist though. So do we have a handout? I don't think so. We could probably find a piece of art though for the ridden. Or no, we should find a art for the homunculus. So we can turn that towards the players and show them when they find the homunculus. Class immersion. So is there something for the fighter, the thief, the wizard, and the cleric to do? I think so. I think that there are enough stuck things. There's enough locked doors, creatures to sneak by. The wizard might be getting slightly shafted, but there is the alchemist aspect of the adventure with the lotus juice and some of the workshops that I think were covered. Does this adventure invoke wonder? This one's actually hard to answer. So what evokes wonder for you? I mean, I'm in love with some of the stuff in the courtyard. That's peak. I think that could count, but it's really up to the individual. You just have to say to yourself, like, am I invoked with wonder? I think so. I think this place is going to be creepy and burned out. Yeah, I think this has wonder for me. GM Hook, are you excited to run it? Yeah, I'd love to run this. So no question. Foreshadowing. Is there a room where future badness is foreshadowed? I think so. I think there's a lot of wreck and ruin in this dungeon, so escalation. I mean, when the homunculus comes, squares up with you at the staircase, shit is getting real. So absolutely. Twist. I don't know. There might not be a twist. Is there anyone who isn't who they appear to be? Not necessarily. So that could be something we could think about changing. I think probably what I would say is test the adventure, and if there's really no like twist moment, then maybe we should go hunt for one. Melancholy, yeah, there's some stuff. There's some scary stuff. Harrowing, I think so. I think that there are definitely encounters in here that you don't want to deal with, and they will be a harrowing. Is there a chance for a glorious death? Not yet, but let's put one in. So if a player is killed by the homunculus, they should get something. Something should happen. Treasure, magic items, unique abilities, or other benefits or abilities for their next character. This one is something to think about. I don't have any ideas yet, but they should get something. Absolutely, they should get something. Because this monster's bullshit. But this thing's walking around the dungeon, like, smashing your balls whenever it sees you. Maybe their next character is a homunculus too. Maybe there's a second homunculus in the laboratory. Let them play Odani in the meantime. That could be cool. That could work. What it means to play homunculus, we're not sure, but sure we could figure something out. Okay, open-ended challenges. Are there open-ended challenges in this? Yeah, there are situations where the floor's collapsing and we have dangerous materials just lying around, so we can deal with that. All bad choices. I think that the isolation cell encounter counts. Johannes isn't a bad person, and the people in the isolation cells are victim. And yet just leaving and giving up means that you're not going to get the treasure. So that is definitely an all bad choices situation, in my opinion. Someone could argue otherwise, and I challenge you to do so. Let's fight. Clever solve. Is there a situation where clever solve. Is there a situation where we can shortcut? We can shortcut an encounter with clever play. I would say yes. I would say there definitely is the potential for that. I think that there's probably several rooms where the homunculus could be defeated without being punched to death. So yeah, I think so. Teamwork, absolutely. There's plenty of floors breaking, so there's chances for people to help each other. No, sorry, that's the save. Yeah, there's plenty of chances for people to help each other. Teamwork, is there challenges that cannot be accomplished alone? No. One person could accomplish all these challenges if they wanted to. So I think we will still see teamwork in the dungeon, but I think this is another thing where, again, after playtesting it, if the players never really had to work together to do this, then we might want to try to re-examine where we could put teamwork. Thespians. I think so. I mean, there's plenty of NPCs in here, so there's lots of chances for NPCs with complex motivations, so there's plenty of chances for role play amongst players. Experimentation. Is there something for them to experiment with? So let's fix that. In the wait a second. We never keyed the frickin' we missed one room. We didn't key a room. I got so excited about the large black vanishing bell. We never keyed the laboratory. So that's chemicals, workbenches, and experiments to find a cure. There is a monster in here, so the homunculus arrives in 1d4 rounds. Things to experiment with. I think that's DC 15 int check for random experimentation to produce one of these. And then we have a table of D6 concoctions. So one of them is healing potion, 2d6. One of them is potion of poison. What the hell is that called? Potion. Yeah, so there's like a bunch of stuff in Shadowdark Core that, you know, you could just say, go look at that. But I kind of want to give a specific list because I want to make the 6th entry to the plague. So if you're smart, you just gear it. Let's say this one's DC 18. You gotta be a real smarty pants for that one. Let's say DC 15 or 2d10 damage. Potion of Newt. Transform into Newt 1 hour. Potion of Fly for 5 rounds. Yeah, Potion of Strength 18 for 5 rounds. Cool. Checklist is doing its job. We have something to experiment with. Negotiation. Yep, you can negotiate with Johannes or the or Pravello. Or guy throwing the rock. Moral choice. Yeah, probably. I mean, there's plenty of innocents and victims around here for you to decide. Allyship chances to ally. Yeah, lots of intelligence people. Alter your character. Alter your character. Is there a chance to alter your character? Yeah, we should probably make one of these potions do that. So maybe we should make. Isn't there a potion that levels? No, but we want it to be like really specific. So we want to make it specific to the adventure. So I am tempted to. We could have put something in the lab, but maybe there should be something in the operating theater. Let's say, so the book here is the book of anatomy, and anyone who studies it gains advantage to stabilize allies who are dying. So there we go. We have a blind risk. Yeah, you could just mix some potions together and get something probably good, or maybe not. And there's a weird little guy. Yeah, we got Pervello holding down the fort on that one. Cool. Well, we could stop. I mean, that's everything, man. We have a dungeon now that's like solid. There is a process here for creating a dungeon exterior if you want to. And basically we just establish the environment. We figure out what the road is to the dungeon. And if there's any landmarks and secondary entrances in an antechamber. I think of these things, I will do an antechamber and a town, because those are really important, I think. So antechamber. So so this is from the road. Looming over the road is a 3-story tower with adjoining walled garden. The wind creaks itch. The place is still like a corpse. Wind creaks. Wind blows. Wind rustles the trees. Faint movement in the windows. Front door is open. Oh, the front door closed. Moving over the road is a 3-story tower with adjoining walled garden. The tower has clearly been burned. Great city. Okay, wait. Looming over the road is a 3-story tower, 3-story bell tower with adjoining walled garden. The tower has clearly been burned, with its roof sin. With its roof blackened. The place is still like a corpse. Wind rustles the trees, and faint movement in the windows can be seen. The front door is closed. There's our antechamber, whereas you maybe don't want to be. Okay, rumors. 4, 5, 6. So 6 rumors, 6 that are true, 6 that are half true. Outcasts from a nearby vale moved into the tower, led by a rich alchemist. Oh wait, actually that's supposed to be a treasure. So the bell in the nearby tower said to banish all evil in with its ring. It's true. Outcasts from a nearby vale, but dungeon fact. Yeah, so outcasts from a nearby vale moved into the tower, led by a rich alchemist. Truth about a treasure. A great fire broke out at the tower, seen from a distance. The structure is likely unsound. Half truth. They say the great alchemist who lives in the tower can knows how to transform lead into gold. and is filthy rich. It said the outcasts who inhabit the tower are all dead, and their riches lie with their corpses. Are all dead from a disease. They say travelers are being abducted on the road and taken to the tower for experiments. Okay, there's our rumor table. That's it, man. We're done. We're done. You could play this. So hopefully that was interesting, and you learned more about how to use the generator, the benefits, that sort of thing. I will key this like I would for something I was going to publish, and I'll put it out as a free download for folks to check out and enjoy. As well, I'll actually draw a dungeon. Like, you could run a game off this, but I'll draw up a dungeon so we have a map too. Okay, thank you, everybody. Gentle's Dungeon Guide 3 is out now. And if you're interested in using it, you can download it from Drive-Thru RPG or Itch. All right, I'll see you out there.